I bought Fallout 76 back in 2022 after trying it for free. I played it for a few months that summer. By August, I had dropped it for reasons I forgot soon after. My experience with the Fallout franchise dates back to middle school. I saw a trailer for Fallout 4 on YouTube at the tail end of 5th grade and pleaded with my parents for a console that would be able to play it. They were concerned about the game's M for Mature rating and said no. About 2 years later, I bought a used copy of Fallout New Vegas from a GameStop. It was the first Fallout game I had ever played. There were a lot of themes and nuances I didn't fully understand at the time, but I poured hours into it until my save corrupted after the game crashed when I tried to enter the Tops Casino for the first time. In high school, I tried Fallout 4 and the very first Fallout. I spent considerably more time with the latter, as I couldn't even get 4 to run on my laptop. Fallout 1 bewildered and intimidated me. The game's lack of a true quest log made progressing confusing. I constantly felt like I was doing things wrong. I made it to the hub before abandoning my save altogether. The Amazon Prime show made me excited about Fallout for the first time in a while. I thought it was masterfully done, and it made me want to engage with this world again. My roommate and I had been playing my 360 copy of New Vegas on and off in our apartment. As it turned out, I had all the DLC on a second disc. I just never realized or bothered to check the disc's contents at all. The joy of replaying the game with a more fully developed brain, combined with the excitement the TV show had instilled in me, prompted me to give the original game another try. It was during my second playthrough that Fallout 1 clicked for me. Every task feels like a major undertaking. The wasteland is new and hostile to you, a vault dweller who has never seen sunlight or sand. And so, when you successfully kill a rad scorpion, or lockpick a door, or convince someone not to kill you on sight, you feel a genuine sense of accomplishment, especially so when you overcome some of the game's more serious challenges. The TV show had piqued the interest of some of my friends, too, who asked me if I had 76. I said yes, and that I hadn't played it in years because I didn't have anyone to play it with. 2 of my friends bought it, and when I came home from school, I picked Fallout 76 back up again. I'm not sure what prompted my change of heart towards 76. Maybe it was the immense amount of time I had been spending with the franchise's first ever game not a week before. Or maybe it was because one of the friends I was playing with now seemed to know everything about the series despite having never played any of the games before. Maybe it was just because I'm not a teenager anymore. But I seriously struggled to stay engaged with Fallout 76. There are some arguments made online about Fallout's tonal changes in the transition from the Interplay era to the Bethesda era. There are some to be made about the original game's art direction, and how the retro-futuristic aesthetics of Fallout 1 and 2 were gravely misunderstood when crafting the worlds of Fallout 3 and 4. There are good things to be said about power armor, and bad things to be said about fusion cores. But for now, these arguments, despite being criticisms I fully understood, hadn't affected my enjoyment of the more recent entries into the series. But now, for some reason, they were. There are a few things I dislike about 76, but most of them are symptoms of the franchise now being Bethesda's Fallout. The Brotherhood of Steel's presence in the game is, to me, derivative and weak. I watch its members run around Appalachia and argue amongst each other, and I complete quests for them so I can get fun rewards, but the whole thing feels disingenuous. I'm not spending time with these characters because they are well written or interesting to be around, which is why I spent so much time in the Brotherhood of Steel base in the very first Fallout game. I'm doing these quests because I like the rewards, and because it's something to do. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel like I'm doing fetch quests for a fun gun, or a strong piece of armor, because I have to. This is a problem I never had with any other Fallout game except 4. Especially in the original games, you're encouraged to travel to an area or meet certain characters because they've been rumored about, or because they might, heavy emphasis on might, be able to point you in the direction of that thing you need. Fallout 76 lacks these cues. When I'm told by a Brotherhood of Steel knight that I am to go to Crater, an area I know nothing about, have never been to, and have never spoken to any other character about, the game still allows me to ask, Crater? Isn't that place dangerous? Instead of providing me with an option to ask about it. The original games even have an Ask About button, just in case you weren't able to ask for information about something in the written dialogue. In 76, you don't gather information and then embark. You do the opposite. There is no sense of accomplishment besides, I've retrieved the item, or I passed the speech check, or I killed all the enemies in this area. And those accomplishments become less and less appealing when you realize that's all the game can offer you. I don't like moping around the wasteland and lamenting about what used to be. In the context of Fallout, honestly, it's kind of ironic. The old world is gone, and the new world is here, and it's permanent. And I want to be able to do what my friend is telling me to get over it. I'm whining about something I can't control. This is what Fallout is now, so either enjoy it or stop playing. And I want to enjoy it, an online Fallout game where my friends and I can create our own stories and traverse the barren wastes, doing anything in our power to rebuild and connect, is a dream come true. But that's not the kind of game Fallout 76 is. My friend, the one I keep mentioning, plays 76 because he wants to collect all the bobbleheads, collect all the power armor, build an impressive camp, kill all the largest enemies in the game, and level up ad infinitum. From this perspective, character and dialogue writing becomes a means to an end rather than a point of focus. There are attempts to build little stories on top of the core gameplay loop, something I've seen described as a system of trash collection and crafting, but they ring hollow more often than not. Because Fallout 76 is not a story-driven game. I tried to remember why I played Fallout 76 to begin with. What was so enticing to me about it after only playing for a few hours that prompted me to spend money on it? I didn't know. I tried to find other sources online that felt the same way about 76's lack of direction, and when I say lack of direction, I'm not talking about the game's ability to direct the player. The quest marker does that just fine. I mean design direction. The game doesn't really know what it wants to be or what it wants to become. But Google thought I meant the first definition and served me a litany of Reddit posts and opinion pieces about exploring. And while skimming some of these pieces, specifically Joe Hubbard's Morbid Curiosity art direction in Fallout 76 and Chris Mullen's Fallout 76 is at its best when you don't know where you're going, it clicked. I liked walking around. Fallout 76 was, to me, a world to explore. That was the draw. This was a map 4 times the size of Fallout 4, that I knew absolutely nothing about, and so explore I did. Part of the reason I hadn't even reached level 25 in my months of playing was because I didn't really do any quests. I had acquired a ProSnap Deluxe camera early in the game, which was a dream come true for me. I had always loved the Kodak R9000 in Fallout New Vegas, but was disappointed that it didn't actually save any of my photographs. The ProSnap was a real functioning camera, with a zoom lens modification and everything. And so I spent hours exploring Appalachia with a camera and a shotgun, photographing places I discovered in my travels. It felt like wandering the Mojave for the first time again. But eventually, you reach all 4 distant corners of the map. You've been to the most interesting areas in the game. You know what all the illustrations on your fold-out map denote. And then what? My solution was to try playing with friends, but that means you actually have to play Fallout 76 the way it's meant to be played. And it's just not a game I get excited about playing anymore. I'm not sure what to do at this point. I could stop playing with my friends because I don't think the game is fun, or I could persevere and play it anyway. When I do play it, I'm reminded how much I like Fallout's world, but I am also constantly reminded of what Fallout used to be, which amplifies my disappointment with what Fallout has become. I want to be able to write 76 off as a multiplayer oddity in the series, a spin-off in the way Brotherhood of Steel or Fallout Shelter were. But it's been 6 years since the release of 76, and Bethesda continues to roll out updates, so I can't write it off and wait for the next mainline Fallout entry. Who knows when there will be another single-player story-driven Fallout game? Who knows if there will be another? I don't know. I can't say that I'm confident. Elder Scrolls 6, a game I don't care about in a series I have no interest in, was announced 5 years ago, and there's been virtually nothing except radio silence since. Skyrim is a 13-year-old game. Fallout 4 will turn 10 next year. Starfield was a disaster. I don't have much hope. I don't know how to end this video.